Alright, I'm recording. I can see my screen. So let's do this. I start this. So I've started up Vassal. I've already installed or I guess opened up the Holland 44 2nd edition. So I look for a game online. I guess it's loading. Okay. Main room. Double click their room from the list to join it. Active game rooms. Current game room. Is it this? No, that's me. What's this? Disconnect. Okay. I started up Vassal. I opened up the Holland 44 2nd edition module. I clicked to look for a game online, and now I'm in this main room and I don't see any other room available for me to join. Oh, maybe. Actually, I think I may have the old version of the Holland 44 module, so I think I need to install the new one. Hold on, let me check. Okay. No. Gaming. Let's put this here. And we're going to do Vassal, Holland 44. Second edition version 1.0. No, I think... Never mind, I seem to have the latest version installed. Actually, let me... I have 3.7.16. Yes, but you are 2.0 of the first edition of the game. I'm 1.0 of the second edition. The way version numbers work, I have the later version of the module. Do you want to get on a voice call or just do everything through text? It doesn't matter to me either way, but it might be easier or quicker to just do a voice call. I'm dictating out everything that I say, but it looks like you're actually typing. I mean, it seems clear from your screenshot that you're in 3.7.15. Okay, I'll check now. Module version 1.0. What do you see when you go to the module selection screen? Version 2. Yeah. Holland second. Oh, that's me. Yeah, that's the wrong version. That's the first edition. Oh, can I mute with a shortcut? What key is mute? Okay, cool. What now? Are you kidding me? Okay, I'll download that now. What timing? Okay, so I want to move that into my Finder. folder. Okay. So we're going to go here, Vassal Games, Holland 44, and we're going to drag this in here. And we'll delete that one, but I gotta quit first. So delete this, open this. Holland 44. Okay. Okay, I've got it downloaded and open in Vassal. Okay. Is this working? Yeah. This is working? Okay, mouse scroll to... Can I... Okay, yeah. There's no click to drag the map. You just use the mouse scroll. And zoom. Yeah, okay, so it's command mouse scroll and then shift mouse scroll for horizontal movement. Got it. Alright, Dane, I'm in the game. Do you want to start a call?
Hello, Nathan.
Hey, Dane, can you hear me? I hear you.
From my perspective, it doesn't look like you're talking yet.
Can you hear me now? Test. Okay. Push to talk.
Welcome.
Test.
There's a couple of things I want to go over in this new edition, because they're new to me. It's the first time I'm seeing it. If you go down to where 30 core starts, and you see those black counters that say OR 2731.
Yeah.
So that's something new in this edition that doesn't normally exist there. And I guess in second edition, this was an optional rule where these two units.
Right. Yeah. They can only do tactical movement. When you when you do a Discord call, how do you set up your mic? Do you have it as voice activity or do you have it as push to talk?
Just have it regular voice activity.
Okay, and then you have noise suppression as none, or echo cancel.
Oh, I don't know. Okay. I'm an old man.
Okay, I just want to make sure that you can. It's gonna sound all right when I'm talking. You'll be able to
sounds all right. I get a little reverb off of you.
You got a little what?
But I'm getting a little echo.
Okay, I
can of myself through you.
Okay. How can I do that? I'm gonna turn down the volume. Try saying something now.
Sensitivity is usually what it probably needs, and I'm looking at mine too.
When you talk now, do you still get the echo?
Nope.
Okay, yeah. So I think it was just I think it was just that I had the volume turned up enough that my microphone was picking up the sound of
picking it up.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm using headphones. So
yeah, I'm using headphones too. It's just it's just loud. Okay.
All right, so we'll use that option. We'll leave those on there. I'm going to replace the bridge counters with the ones that I like.
Sure. What do you mean? Like just how they look?
They took them out. Yeah, so it looks like they might have removed it for some dumb reason.
And do you want to play with all the other optional rules?
It's up to you.
I would say, yeah, let's do it.
Okay. I mean, in this game, I don't use disengagement very often. And what was the other one? Isolation attrition. Isolation attrition can severely hurt the British 1st Airborne, but it's also more realistic, I think.
Yeah.
So, anyway, in days of old, Nathan, when you went to the counters, show hide the markers palette, that's right next to the double dice there. Under general, we had more options. We had a lot more options. And I'm bummed because they had, now all we have are the counters.
Wait a minute.
In the past, somebody had put a little piece of artwork that went in there that was a little more efficient, and I liked it better.
Hold on. You've lost me. So where in the toolbar am I looking?
All right, you know where the single die is?
Yes, I see it.
2 buttons to the right is the show hide markers palette.
Got it. Yeah.
Now there's a lot of different things under there. Your spent markers are there. Most of the stuff you can use hotkeys are. I'm gathering you're a computer guy, so you're going
Yeah.
to use hotkeys.
How do
I'll tell
you?
you what drives me nuts
Oh,
is the
it's
hotkeys are not the same from one ZOC bond game to the other.
right. And there's a I forgot how to do that. It's like when you right click, it shows the
Yeah. Right click will
yeah.
give you all the options for the
Right. Okay.
counter you're looking
Yeah, I see it. Yeah. Okay, I'm with you.
at. And so under bridge, we used to have two extra things for a blown bridge. If you see on the counter where it has that little sort of yellow or orange surrounded by a red outline explosion kind of a thing,
Yeah.
you can put those on the map. And I liked those better. But his bridges always get cluttered. Anyway,
Because they just
like I
look
said, it's
nicer,
completely
or what?
yeah, it's completely an aesthetics thing.
I
It
mean,
has
you see
no
they have these
gameplay.
utility markers. Maybe one of those would be nice. I don't know.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine the way it is. Um, like, see these ones. Oh, so Alt left button will give you one of these things. You see what I'm doing?
No.
Just look down by 30 core. You should see a bunch of pings, what we'd call pings. Do you see the red circle
No.
when I'm pinging? So hit Alt and left click somewhere down on one of the 30 core units.
Uh,
Left Alt.
I'm on a Mac, so I'm doing Command.
Uh,
Oh, okay, it's Option for me.
okay. So did you see me doing this?
I don't see you doing any of them. When I click on it, I see my clicks show up as the red.
You see your ping then?
Yeah, I see my ping, but I don't see your ping.
So this is a new module that may be some. The whole point of pinging
To draw their
is
attention,
to
right?
center somebody's attention,
Yeah.
right?
So
And on Big Map, you
it,
can
if it's
click
not
it.
working,
You
do you
can
want
set
to
it.
go to the older version?
This version, but if you want that, that's
I
fine.
mean,
I
pinging
was gonna
seems like
check
an important
preferences.
feature.
Here. Pinging does seem like an important feature, but I was just gonna check the options to see if maybe they added a new option.
That's weird that it wouldn't. I mean, that seems like a fundamental Vassal feature and not a
Yep,
module feature.
that's what you get for a brand new 2 hours old.
No, but you understand what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't seem like that should be within the scope of the modules.
Right.
It seems like it should be a Vassal feature, a Vassal functionality.
Okay. Are you on 3715
I'm on
for
three.
Vassal?
No, I'm on 3.7.16.
Let me switch up to 1.6 and see if that has something to do with it. Okay.
Okay.
Sit tight. I gotta leave, so you just stay here and I'll load that out.
Okay. Vassal is finicky.
Yeah, new modules especially so. I get what you're saying. Why would that suddenly cease functionality? But
Yeah, yeah.
for
It
the
seems
squad
like
leader
something
module,
that normally when you've got something like this Vassal project, like there's normally like fundamental functionality that the module can't mess up. It's confusing that they have the deprecated page for the modules. Okay.
all right, I'm installing it now. Online in the room. Are you looking down by 30 core?
Yeah.
You see it now?
No. 30 core, the purple one.
Yeah, all the machines down there on the south side.
I'm not
So
seeing
yeah,
anything.
we're not. And then you do yours. Just make sure we're not seeing it.
Oh, okay, hold on. Okay, I'm clicking mine now.
I'm not seeing any flashing.
Let me
So
see if I move a unit. Let's see if you can see that. Do you see that I moved the unit?
no.
Okay, so maybe we're in a
Well, that's
different room from each other.
no. I see you in my room, in the current game room, Nathan versus B. Dane.
At the top, I see
Well,
s2.vsave. I'm moving stuff around. Um, okay.
well, I suggest we go to second edition or 2.0, I should say.
Let me try to just
Instead
like
of 3.
rejoin your room. I'm gonna close this. Save game, no. Let me just try to rejoin your room, see if that'll. Module version 3.0. Open. Look for game online. Nathan V. Dane. Why do I see myself twice?
So that means something happened with synchronization.
Okay.
Somehow one of us we were unsynchronized,
Okay. So maybe try
and so
start
you
create a new
leaving
room.
could have taken care. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go to the main room here and just abandon this one. All right, why don't you make a new room when you're ready, and you start a new game too? Because as the allied player, I kind of think maybe me creating it might
Okay.
do something finicky.
So I'm gonna go to file at the top, and I'm clicking the campaign game. Or no, I click new game or the campaign game.
No, start with. Well, you can do that way. You should create a new room also.
Okay. New room, so we'll call it Dane v. Nathan. Okay.
All right, and now you can open a game. If you ever start a game and you're not actually in a room online, it won't let you move pieces. That's
Okay.
the only, and it'll tell you you can't move pieces unless you're in a room.
All right. So I clicked the campaign game. I'm gonna select Allied, finish. It's asking me to start a new log file. I click yes, and I'll call
It's up
it
to you.
Dane v. Nathan.
All right, I should be able then to jump in. I am selecting German. All right.
Okay.
Why don't you try to ping?
Okay. So I'm down at 30 core, and I'm clicking.
Yep, I see it. I see it.
Okay. Now you try.
All right. Same place you were.
Yep. I see it. Cool. Problem
Woo,
solved.
goodness. All right. So the other thing that is new is up here by Arnhem, they have this optional setup on this thing. And I don't know if you know the controversy and history of this one hex.
No.
All right. So I'm going to move a British unit from this stat and show you what you can do. It's 1, 2, and then 3, 4, because the third non-road woods costs 1 extra. So
Right.
you couldn't go 5, 6. But anyway. All right. So now you got your combat over here happening, right? And or actually, one of these guys will be over here. So if he gets a retreat option without this guy here, he's 1, 2. He can't do it. He's dead.
I see.
So with that, he has the option, if that's a real counter and not a ghost 000, of having a retreat option. So that's.
So
I'll
I
just
mean, wouldn't
undo
that
all
just
of
force
that.
him to do a determined defense?
Correct. Yeah, exactly right.
Right, but maybe he doesn't want to do that.
Desperation.
Right. Hold on. Let me get some watermelon out of my fridge. 1 second.
Oh my goodness.
All right, I'm back. So what do? You put you put that as an unknown unit?
Yeah, where I don't know, because the first time I've seen it on a map like this is, did they take it from somewhere? Because there's supposed to be 21 of these
Right.
things now. So if you're going to count And it'll involve all my fingers and toes. One, two. Okay, so that's an extra one right now. That makes a 20-second one. You can double check that for me, but I counted 22.
I trust you.
So if we wanted to use that, then I would take one off of somewhere, and this is the easiest one to take one away from.
Okay.
Because if the allies get there, you've already lost.
Mm.
So what I'm going to do is just swap that one with that one. All right. And then just, I don't know how you are about OCD and counter clutter and things like that. I like my counters, but
Oh, you keep them in that little eliminated box?
I mean, this one I can probably just remove from the game entirely if we don't need it. Makes sense.
I want to learn the best practices, so however you do it.
Well, it's the first time I've ever seen that optional, counter down on board. And I normally don't ask for it. And when I play the British, I normally don't try that because I think it's worse. You want craft to retreat versus, in my opinion, you want craft to retreat versus him succeeding at a determined defense. It's all great if he dies, but if he succeeds at the determined defense, you've just created more of a problem for yourself. Anyway, so I'll do it, and you still have the option because if that's a 0-0-0, then you still exert his amount of control in there, and that unit dies right away. So 0 does. Okay, so we would start with air landing, and we roll. Normally, people just start 30 core first airborne and work their way down. We ignore all die roll modifiers, but if you look over here by Nijmegen, and then we'll look at Eindhoven in a minute, you notice that you got 4 in one of the hexes with that hex marker on it. So the maximum to land there was 3. You can put 2 at one of these, or you can put 1 at one of these.
2 what?
So at N here, you've got N, that's a hex of N, that's a hex of N. So since the one hex has 4 in it, you've got to at least move 1 somewhere else. You could move 2 if you wanted.
I get it. Okay. I would say so. 3, 3, 3. Yeah, just split them in half.
Yeah, what most people do. And then you can remove that marker with the numbers on it from the game. And then you have to do the same thing over by the Grave Bridge, because it's got 3 over 2 hexes. Well, technically you don't have to, because you can have 3 in one place land. That's 3 per hex.
So, I guess I'll split them up. I don't know. And then I delete this.
What I would do is 2 over here, 1 there, just like you just did.
Yeah. Okay.
And then we'll have to do that, I think, for 1 by the Son Bridge by Eindhoven. You've got 1 hex of the 82nd Airborne that's got to be split between these two. 101st. It's got to be split between these 2 hexes.
Okay. Oh, there's 5. Oh, no, that's the supply base. Okay. So, I moved 2, is that right?
Yeah, just do 2 and 2. Yeah, it's the
okay.
Right,
And then what's the purpose of these?
You want to develop something.
What's the purpose of these green?
They have no purpose at all. You just remove them. Control D, delete it.
Okay.
When you set it up in physical copy, you don't do that, but for some reason, and those don't exist. So.
But I mean, what
right,
what justification do they like? Does anybody give a justification for why they're there?
Never heard of one.
Okay.
So we are ready for air landing, and tell me where you want to start.
I guess go north to south.
Yeah, and so it's 1 roll per hex in turn 1.
Right.
In turn 3, it'll be 1, and thereafter it'll be 1 per unit.
Right. So, 6418. So what do you normally do? You just type it into the chat, the log 6418. and then I roll.
Yeah, or if we're live, I'll show you what I do when if you, when I have bad vision, Nathan. So what I am very fond of is you click on the 3 to 1 button there,
3 to 1. Okay, yeah,
and you see how it's got arrows and all this stuff.
yeah.
So when you see if we were doing this play by email, I would grab one of these and I'd go like that. I mean, okay, I'm rolling for this one. Boom. And I might say exactly what you did, the hex number, and then roll.
And you say it in the
And
log
then,
in the chat.
yeah, yeah, that's typically what I would do, the hex number and a roll. And I like these little yellow markers
Yeah,
because they are good for my vision
man,
to.
I trust you. Like I want to learn how you do it. I want to do it how you do it. So
So go ahead and roll north to south,
okay,
and just one at a time,
so just
and do
one
the
d
hex
six.
number. If you want. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's a
So
6.
the first one, you had a bad thing happen.
Right.
So you're going to lose one step, and from either one, it's your choice.
Okay.
I would lose it from the 333,
Right. And so
and he's also going to be, what is it called? I want to say shattered, scattered. That's the word.
okay, so how do I flip it?
So you can right click and go
Blue
to
step. Here we
combat,
go.
but I can tell you really quick that control
Yeah.
and the left bracket, right bracket will be the quick ways to
Got it.
add and remove steps
And
from
both
guys.
both counters are scattered. Is that right?
Nope, nope,
Oh,
just the
just
one who
the
took
one.
the hit.
Okay. And scattered. Here we go. Control Shift C. Okay.
There you go, perfect. Sometimes it puts those on the top, and that's just a Vassal thing, but don't worry about it. All right, so since you lost a step, now I'm going to grab that arrow and I'm going to take you down to the replacements. What are they called? The returnees? I'm not sure what they call them here. Airborne replacement track, okay? So right above the turn marker, we've got one of these for each airborne group. So you just lost a step of British. So we move that up to the 1 column. That represents those guys being scattered. They'll come back to you in a future turn. Does that make sense?
Okay, and then what's the 0
They're not
represent?
lost. Where you start with full strength units, right?
I see. And so so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 represents what? That's the days I have to wait?
No, no, those represent steps lost of the division during various landings. Okay,
I see.
you can accumulate this. So I very often will accumulate these and not return them. At the earliest opportunity, I'll wait and see when a critical need arises. So you can keep tracking. You can, if you lose more, we'll keep adding more. But then on turn 3, when you get some more, or turn 4, when you get some more landings, you might be adding to it and subtracting to it to put some people back into stepped lost units,
Got it.
damaged units.
Okay.
Okay.
And
So,
can it go above 4, or does it's for the maximum?
I'd have to look in the rules to see if it goes above 4. If it's going above 4, you've had a really bad drop.
Right. But I mean, if you're accumulating them over several turns, then
Yeah, well, I still think if you get 4, you've on any one division, you've had a really bad drop.
okay, got it.
That's never happened to me.
Airborne landings, page 24. Okay. Just opening the relevant section of the rules in a separate window. Okay, so I'm with you so far. So now I roll for the
So
next
roll
hex.
for the next hex.
So how did you move that arrow? I have it selected.
Just left click and drag.
Okay, and so the window will.
Hold left click and drag.
Okay, and then okay, got it. So then I put the arrow here.
Yep.
And so, like, when you do that arrow, is it the idea that if you were doing it by email, I would be able to like play back all of the actions that happen? Yep. Okay, so I could see.
That's right.
I would see the arrow move to that location, then I would see the diagram.
Now, when I play back a vlog, I typically just hold down the page down button, and it looks like a slow motion animation, right, of all these various things. And so I really like that red arrow because then 2 things. I have what's called prism, a really bad prism, where one eye sees up and one eye sees down. So
okay.
To have two things there helps me my vision hone in on that and see double.
Looks like I like it. Yeah, it's a good idea. It definitely makes it easier to see. Okay, so now I'm rolling for 6 3 6 3 1 7. So I push 1d6 and I got a 4.
So they should be fine.
Okay,
You go on to the next text.
and now I drag this here, and that's 6217. 6217. And oh, I guess I don't need to type out the hex number. Okay.
Oh.
And I got another 6.
All right. So you lose another step. Again, I would take it off the smallest unit.
Right, the 233.
And then go ahead and add one more step to British 1st Airborne.
Okay.
And you got to scatter that guy too.
Yep. And then I scroll down. Add one step to British Airborne. Thank you. Okay.
All right, so you're done with British. We can go to 82nd, and people usually just do north to south.
Sure. Okay, so I'll start in what is it? Groesbeek? Groesbeek Heights.
Yep.
So, I want to drag the arrow here. Okay, and then roll a d6. I got a 2, so they're fine.
Next text.
5.
5 means one is scattered. No choice.
Okay. So if I was to select the top one and mark it as scattered, how do I know if that counter represents?
You don't. Right now you don't.
Okay, so then I should move the bottom one to the top.
Yeah, are you aware that you can use the number buttons to you can select one counter and use the left and right arrow buttons to move it up or down in a stack, or you can use the up and down arrow buttons to move it to the top or bottom of the stack.
Okay, thank you very much. I didn't know that.
In a game like this where you only have 3, top or squad leader,
Right.
where I can have 8, 9, 10 counters in a hex, it's really helpful.
Got it.
Thank you. Yep, no problem.
Okay. So
all right, so on to the next.
3.
Good to go.
2.
Good.
6. Another one. Okay.
So take it from the one who's a 4-5-3.
The 3 4 5 3 or the
no,
3,
do it from the one who's already 3 steps.
Okay.
And then he's got to be scattered, and you want to add one for the 82nd Airborne replacement. Whoa.
Wait, I'm confused. Take it from the one that's 3 steps. That's the 4-5-3,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Right.
I might not have, I was talking over you.
Got it. Okay, and then scattered. That's what's that? Command Shift Sheet. Yep. There we go. And then what were you saying? The other part? Oh, I have to add to the.
Add one.
To the.
Go from the 0 to the 1 on the 82nd Airborne replacements line.
Thank you for the reminder. Okay. Okay.
All right. Now the only consequential unit is this one across the Grave Bridge.
Right. So this one I have to roll for as well. So.
Yep.
Roll. I got a 5. So they are scattered.
No, this is not. You're fine. I've only seen it happen once, and it sucks. Because he's there to keep that unit from being doubled on defense. All right, so we are now off to the 101st Airborne, right up the street from me here in Nashville.
Okay.
You got spent, not scattered.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. I notice when you're talking, like you're talking in terms of like game turns, right? Like you're saying like, oh, this German unit needs to be here for this game balance purpose, rather than like the historical. Like, what's your opinion on that? Like you're like.
My opinion, my opinion is really that it's fine either way.
Right. Okay.
I've played this game, and like it sucks if Kraft dies to that rule, but doing that has a downside too in trying to protect a DZY on game turn 3 or 4.
DZY.
So if somebody, Yeah, so if you look where the British First Airborne, and look where DZY is, it's farther away from Arnhem
Okay, right.
than where you dropped right now. That's where the day two stuff must come in, interadjacent to DZY. And I know that, and you know that, so I'm going to get zones of control on there if I can.
Okay. I don't see an option to mark this 82nd Airborne unit as scattered.
I agree. That's probably because it's one of the breakdown units. So if you click on it, I'll grab a scattered modifier if I can find it. They're under the Allied tab of the markers palette.
Thank you. Okay, so next one
He's
is
red here.
oh, okay, thank you. So I put him here, and I roll the d6. A 6 again. Okay.
The thing about it is, you're going to get this step back. It's just where and when you choose to bring it back. It's in some senses, it's a future reinforcement.
I see. Okay, and I advance this airborne marker. Okay, and then I go to the...
Oh, you got the wrong one. So you moved 82nd Airborne again?
Oh,
You only
sorry.
lost one from 82nd Airborne, right?
Thank you for catching that.
He's under the Polish one there.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And then I usually just do like that. Whoops. Like that. Oh, come on, man.
Oh.
There we go.
Yeah, that is nicer. Cool. All right. Next one is this guy.
Yep.
Roll over him. And a 1, so he's fine. Next one is this guy. 3. 6 again. Okay. So to pick one and oops, scattered and advance the replacements. Okay. And then the last
There
one
you go.
is this guy. 3, so he's fine. And is that everybody?
Not a little worse than average. Rare for 2 divisions to lose 2 steps.
Well, it's fine.
Beginning next turn, you can put them right back in, damaged units.
Okay, well, that's cool. That's good. So now I remove this arrow, or am I still?
Yeah, and you can go to the movement phase.
Okay. So movement phase. This is the part that I'm.
And why don't we start with 30 core, because your options at 30 core are very, very limited because of the ZOC bonds that I have to start.
Okay. Yeah.
And that way we can kind of just go through talking about anything you want to talk about. You've got really limited choices here. So.
Okay. Yeah, I had spent some time, I think before I started talking to you, looking at the different courses of action, and it just seemed like there were a lot of...
Well, I know you didn't want to see my file, but do you want me to discuss some options that you have that you might not think of?
Sure, yeah. I mean, it seems like this first turn would be particularly important to...
Yeah, it is, and that's why I'm bringing this up.
Right.
All right, so you've got a bridging unit here, right?
Okay.
See that?
Yep.
You got a bridge here.
Right.
So you can't start it this turn, but you could start it next turn. Okay. But that will require this unit not to have a ZOC here. So you're going to have to attack him and put that bridging unit there. That way, starting on turn 2, assuming he gets retreated, which is very likely to happen. Okay, I'll just give you the short of it. It's very likely to happen. That way, starting on turn 2, you can have this going, and on turn 3 it'll be done. And then if you look at your reinforcement cards, you get a lot of reinforcements here in zone M on turns 1 and 2, or 2 and 3, I should say. So if you don't know to start this bridge right away, you're losing a turn
Right.
immediately. You get what I'm saying?
I have a
Because you're not
question though.
starting it on turn 2, you're starting it on turn 3.
But I mean, what something I'm confused by is that you have SS units on both sides of that
Okay,
bridge.
hang on just a second. I want to get rid of these things.
Yeah,
They irritate me.
sure.
So I'm not going to move those. We're going to. So if you hit me this unit and you retreat me, 1, 2. Let's say I'm there, right? And I'm disrupted. You can still. So starting on turn, you're going to advance. So you're going to have a friendly unit there now. Now you can start building the bridge on turn 2 because you have a friendly unit preventing my ZOC
Oh,
and the hex.
because okay, so I don't have right.
So
I see.
it's a two-stage process. You don't have to attack this guy on turn 1, but you do have to attack that guy on turn 1.
So
So
I
you
can
can
attack
try.
you in that hex and then advance into a different hex across that bridge.
Yes, advance in this game is almost always in any direction.
Right. It's just yeah. It seems counterintuitive that I could advance into that hex when you have another unit that has zone of control on that hex. But now, yeah. Can, now that I know, I know.
And in this one, this is a game in the ZOC series that has smaller units. We're dealing mostly with battalions instead of regiments or divisions, where the other ones are dealing with regiments or divisions. I don't think any of the other ones deal with battalions.
Interesting. And what is that? What's the effect of that?
Well, on the smaller hex, so we have less. Every unit has less combat firepower to output.
So the idea is like the zone of
The
control is
other
not
games.
as important.
Yeah. Actually, it works like the, all the other games. So
Right.
this would. Wow, this is the only one I think that that bridges count. They don't. Yeah, this is the only one that I know of that you can blow bridges on.
Okay.
All right. So, um, feel free. So feel free to go ahead and get started. But we did move him there. Let me, since I'm giving you this, I want to show you the efficiency model, okay? Because this really gets down to the efficiency model of somebody who knows how to squeeze every firepower point,
Right.
okay? So these guys don't need to go anywhere.
Okay.
One of these two, and I double check the stacking restrictions. One of these two stays there, okay? I think it can stack there, it just can't attack. And the other one is going to go 1, 2, 3. He's going to participate in this attack. All right. So now we got 1, 2. And then we're also going to take this little armored car. He's involved in it. Anybody else? Then this Royal Tank Regiment, who can go anywhere, right? He can go right there. So I am going to be doubled in defense because all 3 attackers are attacking across a canal or major or minor river.
Right.
The difference is the minor does not have the firepower of infantry-based units. So these guys count for 10, whereas these other guys count for half of whatever it is.
Right.
And then you've got to factor in, but you don't in this case, the lead unit. Well, we're already having everybody on the one side of the river, so we can make this really simple and say purple's the lead.
Right.
All the other guys who are not lead are already halved anyway.
Right.
So that's a nice simplistic feature of this game. And it works out. It's either 22 or it's going to be 22 or 24 to 10. Okay. So it's starting out at 2 to 1 with no tank bonus.
Got it.
But you've got, so then the next thing you would do is that and that. If you don't know, and you don't move those, then you're damaging your chances for a quick movement on turn 2, right? You want to be starting on that road just in case.
I see.
So that's how you set up to attack this and start the bridge in this zone M as soon as turn 2. That is kind of an essential option. It may not work. You might roll poorly, or I might do a determined defense or something like that, but it usually works. Okay, and then so you've got him set up the way he needs to be. And then it's really just kind of a matter of what you want to do with these three units. I usually, because this is a inexperienced unit, and because he can both attack and move one hex across that boundary line, I usually attack it with these two guys because you get a free right shift.
Which
Right?
two
It's 11
guys?
versus 4.
Are you using the ping? Okay, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah. So these two against that one, it's 11 to 4, which unfortunately is as good as you can really get against it, but it's still 3 to 1 before you factor in your two air units and your several different, well, I guess
Why is
just two to start
11
with.
to 4 3 to 1? Or is it 2 to 1 with it the low
2 to
quality
1.
unit?
2 to 1, the quality of the unit gives you a right shift, which becomes 3 to 1.
Okay. Got it.
I'll try not to jump past those shifts.
Got it.
Um, so that's kind of where I go with turn one. I mean, that's more or less my basic move, and then I bring, I'll either attack this X or this X. Even if it's 1 to 1, I'll do it. Um, Mostly because those guys are slow and don't have anybody else to attack by virtue of the fact that they've only got those 2 or 3 hexes they can move through until those defenders are gone.
Got it. All right. Yeah, sounds good to me.
So, well, go ahead and move the units from, what is this, the 50th Division? Yeah, the 50th Division around, and I'll just make sure you're doing everything legal, but figure out what you want to do with them, and then we'll go take a look at the Airborne.
Well, you had said that you attack with them, right?
Yep.
So these would both stay, like, hold on, let me ping. These two would stay where they are, right? And they would each attack across the river?
Yep, and then you've got a spare hex here that these two could go in.
Oh, I see, right. So I would do this, and then this.
Right.
And this.
Yep.
This.
All right, and then I'm going to give you an advanced tip here at the start. In this game, units that are stacked with something but do not attack may still advance in the advance
Right.
after combat.
I remember that.
So,
You can
what I
overstack
typically
and then
do
advance.
when it's me, some people would attack this stack too. What I typically do is overstack this, not overstack it, but 3 per hex, right? They can't, 2 of them, well, 1 in each hex can't attack, but they can still advance and then they'll be across the canal. That's all. But some people don't do that, and instead what they do is, maybe 3 on this one and 3 on this one. Does that make sense?
Why
Or 4 on this one.
why can't they all participate in the attack? I thought it's like 9 steps of units can attack out of a hex.
Oh, well, you may be right. I thought it was 3. I thought it was 2 units. I may be thinking a road. No, it's 2 in a free stacking unit, not 9.
Oh, okay, right.
It's 2 in a free stacking unit.
Oh, it's 9.
So
9 steps is the overstacking limit.
It's where overstacking comes in.
Right. Okay, got it. Yeah. So I'll do it how you recommend with the 3 on each.
Yeah. All right. Now, when it comes to the Airborne, what I would say is maximize how many bridges you try to make me blow, because on turn 1,
You get that.
you have your best chance of falling and not blowing them.
Right.
So, you definitely want to get adjacent to this bridge and the Son bridge. Really, we should roll for the Grob, but we should pick this guy right now up here at the Grob bridge because you're adjacent. That's a new rule. As soon as you're adjacent, we do that. So let's start there, okay?
All right, let me remove this arrow first. Or maybe we should drag the arrow to where we're...
Yeah, where is it? We don't have to be fanatical about it, but plenty of times I lose track of it.
I'm just curious.
So
I wanted to learn how to do everything properly. Like, you seem to have way more experience with this.
Oh, I've played 25 head-to-head games of this.
Yeah, so I want to learn how to do it, how you do
I
it.
think I've seen almost everything. All right, so I just did a reveal on it, and since you 0-0, he gets removed. You right click remove, he automatically goes up into that box over there. We're done.
Okay.
So now you can go ahead and start moving.
So
Essential first turn movement. Let's start at Arnhem. Essential first turn movement is to follow this road with one of those 453s and get to this X.
okay.
This is the Frost Battalion, Colonel Frost. I don't
So
know how well you know the battle, but you know.
no, I don't. I have to watch the movie again. What's it
Yep.
called? Okay, so I'm gonna do that.
This is Anthony Hopkins, Bridge Too Far.
One, two,
And he's in the second parachute.
four. Is it half of you? How does the road movement work? It's like you pay half the price, or is it just still one?
Only if you're a motorized unit. You're a leg unit, so
Right.
you're paying
One,
one per hex
two,
regardless.
three,
Extended
four.
movement gives you two extra, so you have five movement.
So one. So it's one, two, three, four, five,
Right.
and then I don't have. I'm not allowed to
You don't have enough
enter
movement,
because it's
right?
extended. Right. Okay.
But
Got it.
this is every game, right? Every game, the Germans are going to start with only tactical movement. So he's going to come here, and you're going to use the infiltration rules next turn to get into that hex, which will expose him, and it'll determine what happens in Arnhem.
Got it.
Sometimes you walk right in, sometimes you have to fight for it.
Got it. Cool. All right. Um, so for the rest of the First Airborne Division, I guess we just do that attack that you were suggesting. But I mean, I'm confused because you had said that I need to protect Drop Zone Y. Is that right? Or do I?
Yeah, but nothing's going to land on drop zone Y until at the earliest turn 3.
I see. So then I should do that attack that you're talking about.
So what I typically do is I'll send the scattered unit over to DZY, and I'll send one of the 333 or the 233 from this hex out to DZY. And then I'll have a 453, 453, and I think you got one more 453. One, two. See something. Yeah, and then bring 4 or 5 here so that you get what are you looking at? 4, 8. And you want to get to 10 against that unit because 10 starts it at 2-1, and because the British are elite, they'll get a right shift for being elite versus regular, and it'll be 3-1. If you want to use the artillery, you can make it 4-1. That's really where your option is. The problem with using, and sometimes I use the artillery, sometimes I don't. I would say usually I don't, because the earliest you're going to get that artillery flipped up is turn 3, because our next turn is a night turn, and there's no artillery replacement or no artillery
So how does that
drop.
factor into it? Why would you not use the artillery?
Because you might want to use it in defense, or you might want to use it in support if you have to attack something here.
I see. Got it. Got it.
Now, so there's one thing that I do know in the second edition. This is my really only my first game, second edition. I started one with somebody, but he bailed. We didn't get to turn 2. I've noticed that the German reinforcements have changed. And the German reinforcements have changed in a way that makes it harder for the German to threaten DZY in turn 2.
Okay.
I'm not going to go into the details about that. So my thinking is you are safer now to use the artillery in turn 1 against craft. It's more useful than waiting most of the time.
Okay.
A lot of that's going to depend on what kind of unit is here.
Right.
Okay. Because there's a couple of units that have 2 defense, which will be doubled to 4, but there's also units that have no defensive strength at all. So we just don't know yet.
Okay, so I guess.
So I would probably, when it comes to combat, use the artillery. The scattered guy, I would move right on top there.
Oops. Oh, how do you select them as a group? Okay, here we go. Okay.
And then this scattered guy, I would move really to here. I don't want, you don't want me sneaking by along the river towards the back of your guys.
Where did you put it? You put it.
Yeah, right there. He can only move two since he's scattered.
Okay.
You can only use tactical movement.
Right.
And then the other ones, um, I would try to have ZOC bonds over here, so I'd make sure I have one more unit. Does that make sense?
Right.
And then what? So this green one goes with this guy. You know how those operate together, where if they're stacked together, they only count as one unit, not two?
Oh, because
Weird.
it's a diminished battalion.
Yeah. I don't know. And they only use that in this rule in this game. So when they stack together, they only count as one.
Right. So that's a good
Uh,
reason to keep them together.
but yeah, I just usually try to keep them close together. Like this guy, he might have him, in craft, a couple of turns from now, you might have him go link up with his other guy. Sometimes they get completely separated. It just kind of depends. But you've got a nice tight organization. That's a perfect start for uh, Arnhem, and you're kind of done.
Cool. All right.
So, oh wait, you're not kind of done. We want to move the artillery 1 hex, and we want to move the airborne supply head 2 hexes
I see. And
by default. Because right now you're not in range of here.
I
Okay,
see.
and that's actually something else. So I don't like to give too many options because then you can get into analysis paralysis,
I
right?
see.
Um, just have some fun with it, and if you have questions, I'm happy to answer. But I want to let you explore the game and the rules and ask the questions you want to ask.
No, that's fine. I mean, I'm feeling like this is a game where it probably has like a kind of a set opening, and then it's once you get into the middle of the game.
I don't want you to think that. I
No.
don't want you to think that. I think 30 core has a set opening, definitely. There's not much that you can do until you start breaking up that opening line, right?
Right.
And here you have a little bit less option because there's only one unit that can get into Arnhem, so it does look like a set piece. But you have a lot more options with 82nd and especially 101st. And I will prevent you from making a dumb beginner's mistake. I'd say, hey, this is why you don't want to do that. And like I said, if you have any questions, I'll let you know.
Okay. So the artillery has a range of 3 hexes. Is that right?
Right.
So it would need to be like in this hex or this hex, Oosterbeek. Is that right?
Yeah. And so that's one reason why. That's one of the reasons why I'm saying to use it against craft in turn one. But if you didn't want to use that and you thought you might want to save it specifically for the Arnhem Bridge hex, then really, knowing what I know about the game, which is that the artillery can only move 1 hex and still fire, right? Next turn, you can only move here and fire. That's not enough to get you close enough to support that bridge hex.
Right.
So if you are going to, you kind of need to decide during the movement phase whether you're going to support craft or move. And if you're going to move, then you want to get one of these artillery schlepper counters because the airborne units can use these. Okay? See what I grabbed?
I see. Right. That's the whatever
The
they call
airborne
it.
units can use these. They all came down with Jeeps to tow these 105s. So if you wanted to do that, if you wanted to support this hex next turn, the only way for you to get in range to do it is to use one of these this turn, and you could go 1, 2, 3. You could get right to there, 3.5. You wouldn't want to go there because you don't have a ZOC. I don't know, maybe look up the rules. Or you could stay further back if you want. I usually like to stay and make sure nobody can cross here, something like that. So you've got options.
Got it.
But yeah, if you didn't know, right, you wouldn't know if you want to fire at Arnhem on turn two, you need to mount up and move on turn one.
Right. Um,
So that's one of your first big decisions.
I mean, I feel like, hmm. Yeah, I'm okay with.
I'll give you what happened historically. Historically, I would say that the artillery supported the attack on Kraft, and Kraft made his DD. So he lost a step, but he stayed in place, and that was a huge reason that the whole operation fell. Is more because he got a DD, but
Interesting.
they didn't have to support the Arnhem Bridge because the one major surprise they got was there at Arnhem that the Germans didn't leave a garrison strong enough to guard the bridge.
I see. Um, okay, then I guess. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I
Like
guess
six
I'll.
and one half.
Oh, yeah, I guess I'll use it to attack Raft. I don't know. It's like a flip of the
Yeah,
coin for me.
still move one hex. Might as well move one hex. Well, and the other thing you can do, Nathan, if you want, is look at the combat table. Is it Alt C to bring it up? So it's going to be the difference between 3 to 1 and 4 to 1. Okay. Um, on the 3 to 1 column, if you roll a one, you kiss your sister. You get an engaged where nothing happens. So craft stays at 2 steps.
Right.
Whereas if you make sure it's 4 to 1 with the artillery support, you're at a minimum going to make sure craft loses a step or retreats.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. So let's do that.
So move with that one hex, and then that puts him there. And then just think of if you have any questions about what to do with certain landing zones, let me know. But it's your game. Take
No,
over.
that's fine. I'm I'm in learning mode right now, so I'm fine with whatever the normal um, course is. So does that mean we're done? We're now done with the first Airborne?
We are now done with the first airport. Correct.
Okay, cool.
If we were in, no, go ahead. That's something. I don't want to say that now. That can wait till the combat phase.
Okay. So then next we do the 82nd.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So here's the pro tips that I have for you. Your best chance to take Nijmegen, the town, and the bridge is to be aggressive on turn one, and that means sending these two units together as a stack. Okay.
Okay.
And then I'll reveal him. All right, so we're going to have to fight him in the combat phase. So if it was a 0 unit, like one other we saw somewhere, and we pulled it off, then these two guys would be able to enter that hex and go direct combat on turn one with this guy,
I see.
and it would be 8 to 8, which is 1 to 1. But then the shift for the morale would make it 2 to 1.
I see.
And you're never going to get, I mean, 2 to 1 or 3 to 1 is about as good as it gets on that Arnhem Bridge section. So I have learned to really go for it on turn one and turn two. Even if in turn two, I'm still going to be trying to unseat that guy.
I
Um,
see.
and then after that, it's not as big a deal. But if I'm turn one or two, you can do it. So let's leave them there. So now we're going to, in the combat phase, when we attack this unit, we're hoping to get a die result that will allow us to do breakthrough, or what is it called, breakthrough combat in this game?
Yeah.
Where you could get that extra combat.
Right.
Over here, it doesn't matter. So your only consideration with these guys here over by Groesbeek is that each of these units over here has a 1 in 3 chance of entering the board. And your your phase two reinforcements come in right where you are. So usually you want to try to set up a little ZOC bond 1 hex away from where you just landed towards the image. So you put something here and here,
Got it.
basically.
Okay.
So I'd use the scattered guy, since he can't haul ass anyway. and one of the other units to go to the other hex. There you go. Yeah, exactly. Okay, now you've got the start of it. Now we want to see what's here before we overcommit. So send either one of your other two units that hasn't moved adjacent to them. All right, I'll reveal them and we'll see what's here. All right. So now you want to, well, so let's look at what the odds are, right? 4 versus 2, you're starting at 2-1, but you're going to get two shifts,
Right.
3-1, 4-1. So we know 4-1, even if you roll a 1, you roll an exchange. So I'm dead, even if you don't add anybody out there. So you might want to go over here and see what's going on at Mook.
Right.
Or, and in this case, you could wait too and see what this guy does. Because this guy's going to have to try to. I don't know why all this stuff is here. That's not usually here. I don't. Those are. That's another form of bridge destroyed marker from the old game, from the old edition.
I see.
But anyway, I'm going to get rid of them all right now, just because they annoy me. Oh, weird. That's a new feature in the game. All right. We'll deal with those as we start moving.
Oh, it looks like it's a way to quickly place bridge intact and bridge blown markers. You can right click on it and select place bridge intact marker or place bridge blown marker.
So I can't roll to blow any of those. Well, I guess I could. Go ahead and move.
Okay, so you
we
suggested that I wait to see what happens in Mook.
Well, yeah. So this guy you hadn't moved yet. I was going to say you could move him over to see what's at Mook, or you could move him over to see if he has a bridge that will let him get next to Mook.
Okay, let's move him first.
So as soon as you do that, I've got to roll for this bridge here.
Right.
So Bob's your uncle. It blows. So I will place a blown marker there.
And then I try to.
I see. This is what I don't like. Why do I need two of them?
I don't think you need two of them.
Well, so there's no way to get rid of that stupid orange marker.
Well, I don't. Yeah, I don't mind it, but.
Well, I do.
Maybe there's a way to get.
Oh yeah, they've made the game aesthetically worse for me with this version.
Oh yeah, for sure, it's aesthetically less attractive. Yeah. So I should.
All right, so that one's blown. You've only spent one. So, yeah, you want to go there, and then I'll try for the next one. Here's the roll. That one blows.
And then the next one?
That would be 3-4 if you want to go there, because you don't have a road to go through. But yeah, if you want to do that.
Maybe. Should I cross?
That's what I would do.
Okay.
Because you can only cross the canal as your first move.
Okay, right.
So let's roll for this one. This one's blown. Well, that's good. And that's, well, you could go to this one, but I don't have, well, no, I gotta, yeah. If you went there, you could go for one more.
But I don't have enough movement.
And we'd reveal that guy and see whether, you've got one left.
I do. One.
For extended.
But I'm not allowed to use extended to move adjacent to a...
Is that true?
Adjacent to any unit, right?
Yeah, you're right. Okay, you're right. I'm forgetting about that. Okay, and that'll happen because when you play enough of these games in two or more systems, you forget some of the little subtleties that are different in this one.
Right.
Yep. Okay, so you're right. You can't move adjacent to it because it is technically an enemy unit right now. Okay, so then you've got this guy who can check out Mook or double down on that fight if you want. Okay, so let's see what's at Mook. All right, Mook, we've got nothing, so I removed it.
And he can advance, or no?
Mm-hmm. It's not a combat, so it's just a movement point. 3 there, so I'll go ahead and roll. I technically don't have to unless you tried to cross and you don't have enough. Well, you do have enough to cross. All right, rolling. Wow. All right, and he's got one more movement point left, right?
So
One,
he started
two,
here, right? So
three.
one, two, three,
He spent
four.
three. He spent three.
Didn't he started on N?
His woods are one.
Woods are
Yep.
one. Okay. That's one, two, three.
It's
Got it.
only if you go through a third woods and none of them were on road
Right,
that your
right,
wood
right.
goes up.
Okay.
There was very little underbrush in Holland.
So should I move him?
Don't ask, just do.
I would think that I would want to move him south to protect against these guys in the coming up.
Yeah. Remember on turn two, even if I come in, I can only move two hexes. I can only use tactical movement.
Okay. So then
So I wouldn't spread out and worry all the way down to Gennep. I would just worry about Mook and that ferry right next to it.
I see. So just move to the ferry crossing.
Yeah, or the woods hex.
Oh, but there's no bonus for being in the woods, right?
Um, yeah, I think you don't get an armor bonus in woods here, do you? Or do you? I'm not sure. Woods, no armor shift in woods. So if you're in the woods, I can't get an armor shift against you. Although if I had armor down here at this early in the game, I'd
Oh,
be wetting
okay.
myself with joy.
Armor shift, no. Right. Non-mechanized movement cost. Mechanized movement cost. Got it. Okay, so that's a good reason to move into the woods.
All right, so you got a couple more units left of.
These ones, right?
Yep.
So there's nobody next to the bridge, so they don't need to do anything to secure the bridge. So then
Correct.
they should maybe move
Well,
up
the one
to.
thing I would note is that that two-step unit and that one-step breakdown on the other side of the bridge, they are essentially a broken down, separated unit right now.
The two-step unit.
You follow me?
Which bridge are you talking about?
Grav. So this unit and this unit can link up and become a three-step unit, or you can keep them separate.
Oh, I see.
Essentially, the 82nd Airborne starts with one of its two breakdown units on the map when it drops.
I see. And how do I know? Oh, it's just either of those two-step units can be brought up to three steps.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, got it. But they have to be in the same hex to.
Yeah, they have to be in the same hex to do that.
Okay, so then I should move. I'm so. Okay.
At the same time I say that, there's another thing I want you to just the default, right? You're going to garrison somebody here, and you're going to garrison somebody here. So you have a ZOC bond. This hex is super powerful, and you probably want a 3-4-3 in each of them because they're doubled on defense. He'd be doubled here from being behind the river, and he'd be doubled here from being in the town.
Got it.
So normally what I do is park somebody there, and that's it for the 82nd Airborne's southern front. Now you have a little bit of a problem. Hopefully you'll get that last bridge.
So that scattered can only move two hexes, and then this one can move.
Yep.
So I put them, and then they'll meet up. Okay. Remove that. Okay, so then they're done.
Yeah, that looks like everybody there except for the supply. And all I would say with the supply is just put him with another unit.
Okay.
The supply head. Go. And down to 82nd, you want to these two guys that are around. I'm sorry, 101st. These you want to surround Vagel so you can get all those bridges checked. So let me roll for this one. That one is not blown.
Nice. Okay. Surround Vagel. So.
There you go. Let me roll for that one. That one blows.
And
Have a
then the other
bad
unit
bridge
should
spot.
check the other bridge at here, or what?
Hang on, I got to check this guy too. So he's dead. Well, so I wouldn't worry about those ones so much the first turn. I would worry about those later.
Okay. And what's the reasoning for that?
No German can get to him before you do.
Okay, makes sense.
On even on turn two, right? None of my Germans can move more than 2 hexes. So you're going to get the chance to have those blown or not. Well, yeah, turn one's better. Yeah, no, I would go over there and try it. And as a matter of fact, this guy can keep going.
Oh
Hang
yeah,
on.
right.
Because the zero, you didn't enter a ZOC. So that's 1, 2, 3, and I'll roll. All right, you got a good bridge here. And then go across 4, and get into ERP.
So he started here. Is that right?
No, that's right. One, two,
One,
three, four,
two,
five. Yep.
three, 4, 5. Okay, got it. With
All right.
extended movement.
So
Got it.
it's not great that this is broken, but you do have 2 bridges that will allow you to push across armor. All right. So that other one, he technically hasn't moved yet. Control M if you want to. Oh, another thing on this, I don't know if you know Control T, movement trails.
Control T.
So I'm going to grab this unit here with Control T on him. See?
Oh, yeah. Okay, got it. You have to select a unit to.
Sometimes you lose track of how many. Yeah, sometimes you lose track of how many you've counted out or whatever.
Yeah, that's super
When I'm
helpful.
doing play by email, it's super super useful because then I can check if you counted too many hexes or did something illegal. Things.
And it's you turn it on per unit. Is that right?
Yeah, it's on and off per unit. And then an etiquette thing about Vassal, if the very last button up there in a row of buttons is something that marks all of our units moved, unmoved.
Okay.
So if you look at the unit that we just dinked around with, he's marked moved right now. I'm just going to hit Control M. Now he's not.
I
If
don't.
he clicks that button, everybody, so this guy here that I just did the Control T on.
Well, I didn't see that he had a
Move.
moved. Oh, that's what that little black thing is. I was wondering what that was. Okay, cool. Got it.
So moved, unmoved. If you press that button, it does everything. Usually, if you're doing play by email, leave that for your opponent to press.
Got it.
Because I don't want to press it in my turn. Then you get to your turn, and you can't see what I did.
Got it. Got it.
You can undo it, but that's only if you catch it right away. All
Got
right.
it.
All right. So you got that other unit over by Vagal, and then the units down by the Son Bridge. Historically, the Son Bridge was not taken before it could be blown, and the 101st tried to attack into Best, but they got trounced basically, and they never crossed over by those 2 bridges by Best.
Okay. So I have a question. So this scattered unit, should that move into Vagal? This one? One.
Yeah, sure. He was the first one there.
And
Yeah,
then
two.
this guy, should he also move
Actually,
into
that's too
Vagal?
far.
What's that?
Yeah, no, he started here,
One, two.
so that was 2 to get him there.
Oh, because he's scattered, he can only move 2. Right. Okay, I forgot about that. Got it.
And
Okay.
again, I wouldn't worry about defending Vagal on turn 1 because nobody I have can reach it. But on turn 2, you want to have somebody who can get in there and hold it. Yes.
I see. So then this guy should come to St. Odin Road or what?
You're making me play your turn. Um, so I would leave him up here for turn 2 around Vagal. What I would do literally is this: 1, 2, see what's here.
Okay.
All right. So now you can attack it or you cannot. And then with one of these guys, I would go 1, 2. Let's see what's here. All right. Okay, so you could attack him or not. And then this is a very important hex. So we're going to take this 2 here and do that. What's here? Nothing. Okay, so now you can continue on. I'm going to go ahead and roll for this. Yeah, you're having terrible bridge luck. Uh, do, and then get these two guys over here. I'm gonna roll for this bridge right now. That one does not get blown, so that's some luck if you can get into best. All right, does that make sense?
Yes, got it.
And then I would just, well, actually, with best being where you have a good bridge, I'd go that way. Make sense?
What's the
Otherwise, I would go over here.
rationale for like where to position your airborne supply head?
Well, it's a little more complicated a subject than you might think. It's different for 82nd Airborne than for First and 101st. The 101st, it is largely irrelevant because they get relieved so fast by 30 Corps. Okay.
Right.
But you want to be next to an open bridge rather than a blown bridge for obvious reasons.
Okay.
You can trace to the south end of the map. Um, it's definitely different for the 82nd Airborne because most of the time their second phase reinforcement airdrop isn't going to happen until the third day, sometimes until the fourth day, because you have bad weather on day three. If you don't have great weather on day two, you're probably going to have bad weather on day three because there's a diral modifier. And if you have bad weather on day three, you're either going to get half or none of the 80 seconds second phase. And so if you're waiting on day three or day four for those units to come in by airdrop, you want 80 seconds supply head to be moving towards a clear hex around Nijmegen, because by that time, turn three or turn four, you have much more latitude where you drop. And by that time, you can drop wherever the supply head is. And that
I see.
gives you far more leeway than dropping back where they're going to be listed as, which I think is going to be DZN. I think everything for 82nd is listed as DZN or T. So given the weather situation that they're going to have, it's likely they're going to be dropping onto their airborne supply head, and so you're going to want it to be close to where the action is.
Got it. And does that
Whenever
also
those things
apply to
are.
the first airborne?
Well, the first airborne gets surrounded so fast, it doesn't really matter. Does
But you did
that
move
make
it.
sense?
But why did you move it?
Yeah, um, uh, just to get as close to the bridge in Arnhem as it can, because there's a chance that you can take the bridge.
But what's the rationale
As long as you
for the
can take the
supply
bridge.
head being there?
Um, because it has the ability to negate a diral modifier, a bad diral modifier if you are landing Polish troops at it. Um, because you can't take replacements unless you can trace to it.
Got it.
So knowing, typically what happens is what historically happened, where you're going to have one or two units get cut off at Arnhem Bridge and the rest in those towns and woods nearby trying to hold on until 30 Corps gets to you.
I see. So, but you're saying that if you move the supply head up, you can keep the unit in Arnhem in supply, or no?
Only if there's no blockage by a unit, and that's most of the time there is. So most of the time that unit ends up isolated.
I see.
Uh, yeah, it typically just will end up in either an Oosterbeek or in this hex.
I see.
That's really what I'd tell
And
you.
it's just used for the Polish landing.
Correct.
Got it. Okay. That answers my question. That was a great answer. Thank you.
All right. So, um, where have we moved everybody? I think we've moved everybody.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So let me show you how I would do it in play by email. Okay.
Okay.
I'm using that 3-to-1 button. It's got letters. This is I find it really easy, right? This is going to be, we look up at Arnhem. This is going to be combat A.
Okay. Okay.
He's part of combat A. He's part of combat A. He's part of combat A. Are you going to use the artillery?
Yes.
He's part of combat A. That's how you show it, right? And then you might flip it over to its
Got it.
flip to its fired side. All right, there's combat A. We didn't reveal this guy, so you don't want to combat him.
Right.
No reason to. That one does have a move on. All right, so let's go down to Nijmegen. We're going to have a combat B that's going to look just like this. 4-2, that would be 2-1 odds, 3-1 odds, 4-1. If you attack this unit, you can have 4-1 odds.
Yeah.
I would say yes, do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because you're going to move me. And then the other thing I would do is put that on there too. I was forgetting that because you're live with me.
Why did you?
The reason I'm doing that is because if we're in play by email, you will know what my math is. That gives you a chance to double check my math.
I see.
I will make mathematical errors. I will look at 9 and tell you it's 10 all day long.
I see.
And so up here, what did we have? 4, 8, 9, 10. So that was 2-1, 3-1. That way, let's say you made a mistake, and instead of 4-1, it was actually 2-1.
Right.
That's something where I might want to say, hey, do you want to make a 2-1 attack?
Right.
Rather than.
Got it.
Because what we do is, when we're playing by email, you will do your moves and set up combat like this. Then you will send me the file, and I will resolve the combats A through whatever. That gives me the ability to retreat my guys. Right? I control my guys and retreat them. And if I want a DD, I can roll a DD right there. And then I'll give it back to you.
Right.
And then you'll do your advances and breakthrough combats.
Got it.
All right. Makes it kind of step by step, easy to follow, easy and clear to follow.
Makes perfect sense.
All right. This is a C now. And then B was 8-2. That's 4-1 odds, 5-1 odds, 6-1 odds. So you're very likely to have that breakthrough combat. Well, maybe 50-50. I'm not sure. All right. The next thing, I want to make sure we attack best because it might take 2 turns to do it. So we'll call that D. And I'm doubled to 10 because I'm in a town. You have 4, 8, 12. So it starts at 1-1, but there's going to be 2 shifts for morale. So it's going to be 1-1 becomes 3-1. Follow?
Let me see. So I have 4, 12.
And I have 10.
Town.
Doubled in the city.
Defender doubled, right. Yep, got it.
But I'm low morale and you're high morale.
I see. Let me just move that. Okay, right. 10.
So I lose 1 for the defending, and you gain 1 for the
Got it.
So it becomes 3-1. All right, and that is all the combats from the Airborne that we need to worry about right now. So these 2 are optional. Between Vagal and Best. But if you look, you've got 4-2 against this guy, which is 2-1 odds, then 2 shifts. That's a 4-1 combat. I would do it against him. Make that E. Against the other one, maybe not. But maybe. So E is 4 versus 2 with 2 shifts. So that becomes 2-1 becomes 4-1. And then up here it would be 4 versus 2, so 2-1, but instead of 2 shifts, you're getting 1. That makes it 3-1. 3-1, if you roll a 1, you get an exchange. But that would kill me, and you'd take the hex.
And what's your reason, why do I care about this whole western part of the map? Is that
okay? So this little 1-step unit right now, if you let him live, I would be more than happy to make him a sacrificial one-step loss in some future attack.
I see.
So instead of a good unit getting flipped over from like this 4-5-3 you see nearby,
Right.
he'd become like a 2-3-3. Instead, I just get rid of KG Mellets and say thank you for your service.
But I mean, wouldn't that also mean okay? So you would attack from like some separate because you're limited by how many units you can attack from a single hex. So is the idea like you would attack from two different hexes, and one of the hexes would contain this unit?
Right.
Got
Yeah.
it. Got it. Okay. Got it. Yeah. So that's a good reason to do it.
Okay. So you would have 3-1 in this case. 2-1 with only one shift becomes 3-1. And what letter are we on? F. All right. So that finishes up with the airborne. You're fighting everything you can fight.
What do you
Like I
think
said,
about
I
like the
remember.
historical like? Does that pass like the
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
like? Does that make
This
sense
is
to you?
historical.
Like historically, like
Yes,
they would use police to.
absolutely. This is exactly what we were. This is exactly what the 101st was doing on its first day. Except the Vagel Bridge didn't get blown,
But
and
I
the
mean
Earth
like,
Bridge did.
but like no, but I mean like, if the police were not taken out, is that realistic that the Germans would have them join up with infantry and then attack?
Well, it's a security comp group, or no, it's an infantry comp group. So, and it's a company in size. That's one of the reasons why it's not poor quality, right?
I see.
It's got a regular quality. It's a one-step unit that is really weak compared to my other units that I would normally be attacking with.
I see.
So, that's why I would love to have it. And also because it's the Germans, I'm often, especially early, scraping to get units anywhere I can get them.
I see. But it does seem like a little gamey to be able to choose a weak unit for a casualty instead of a
Yeah,
strong unit,
I
right?
mean, all of these games are simulations. They're
Yeah.
not
Okay. Right. Yeah. I'm
like
just reacting as I learn.
this is my favorite battle in history. It's the battle I know the most about in history. I'm satisfied that this is pretty close to historically accurate.
Okay. Well, that's a good endorsement. All right.
And again, I've played 25 face-to-face games. Um,
Face to face.
so one side of yeah. Well, I mean, play by email, Vassal.
Okay.
Uh, so I've seen almost everything that can happen.
Cool.
I'm very excited to have the second edition. I
Yeah.
stopped playing it.
Yeah. Um.
All right, so that takes us down to the setting up the and I'm just doing this for email. When it's email, you want to set up all your comments or combats.
Yeah. This is helpful. This is
Um,
extremely helpful.
all right, so get down to 30 core, and I'll show you
Yep.
G. We're gonna do right there. G is gonna be right there. You're gonna want one of these on G, and the air. I'm gonna explain to you where your options are. H is gonna be right there, and then it's gonna involve these three hexes, right? And it's going to involve him. I told you how important it is to try to kill that unit. I put there, and then J. All right, let's go calculate. Now, attacking down a road in this game invokes some sort of limitation on the number of steps that can attack. That's unique to this one.
I don't remember that rule.
Well, and I may be imagining that it wouldn't be the first. Let me
I'm
look.
looking in the manual as well. Attacking. Combat 9.
And I might be imagining, not finding it. Okay.
There is a rule
Maybe
that the tanks
it be
have
for
to
break.
follow the path of a road if they're attacking into polder to get the shift.
Right. Yeah. It's something we can worry about later. Um, but I know only two steps. I do need to find it. I always say if you don't like looking up rules, we're going to start for you. The stacking limit is any 2 units plus one free stacking unit. Stacking.
Road congestion. The breakthrough group may not conduct a breakthrough combat from a hex containing friendly units that did not take part in the original combat.
Oh, you have to tell that one to me in a second.
16.3.5, that might be what you're thinking about.
Okay. I found it on 642, first what page am I on?
I see it.
Page 6. So under attacking, no more than 2 units plus one free stacking unit may attack from an overstacked hex. So that's where I'm getting that from. And you are overstacked because you're over 2 and 1. Two units plus a free stack.
What?
You have 3 full units there right now.
Um,
Now, the gamey thing to do, but it doesn't really matter too much, is to break down one of these other 3-step units so that you have 4 units in there. One of them is a breakdown. So you'd have a 3-step unit, a 3-step unit, a 2-step unit, and a 1-step unit. Does that make sense?
hold on, I'm just trying
And
to
then you
catch
could
up to
have
you.
that 1 step. And it's really gamey. I don't like doing it.
Okay, so I was
But
confused. So it's not that 9 steps is the stacking limit. It's 9 steps is when you take losses. You have to take losses.
right,
Okay.
right.
Okay. And so sorry, I
There's
missed everything
a
you said.
different limit than stacking essentially. All right. Well, I'll skip it. I say too much.
Well, I'm
So
interested in
you're
learning.
okay. Well, like I said, you could. Let me just pull this unit out here. Okay. I could take a step off of it during the movement phase. Right. Poof. I just took a step off of it. I could come up here and grab. I don't know, where the hell are the breakdown units? For my sake. So I'm used to the breakdown units being on the upper left part of the map, literally there on the map. And now I don't see them, and I don't know where the hell I find them. See if I do it by the unit, because that would be helpful. Okay. Now, why does it say I can't do that? Does it be a rep? All right. So you're in computers, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what you do for a living. All right. So the option before was different than it is now. It used to be that I had all those breakdowns on the map, like they were physical counters. I could just drag them from up there, and I would put somebody up there. Now they have taken that out and made it part of the interface. So if we look at this 766 here, right click on them and come down to other,
Yeah.
there's a breakdown option.
I see.
That didn't exist in the past.
I see.
Okay. So when I took him down to 2 steps, that breakdown option disappears because when you're a 2-step unit, you become a remnant. That makes sense?
If you were to lose another step.
Well, yeah, that brings the idea that you can't voluntarily break down a 2-step unit into 2 1-step units. I used to do that in first edition. Maybe you can't do that anymore. That
Well, I mean,
kind of makes
I
sense.
thought that they did that on purpose so that you could cross ferries. Like that was why you wanted.
Right. You're right. So I'm a little bit lost. But anyway, this is what it would look like. And so you would, instead of having 17 versus 5, what did I say? No, 17 versus 5, you would have 19 versus 5. Does that make sense?
No, because why? How did you move that tank vehicle, or how are you?
We split the 766, which was a 3-step unit,
Yeah.
into a 2-step unit and a breakdown unit.
Oh, and the breakdown unit is a
So now
freestacking
it's
unit,
represented by 2 counters instead of 1.
and you're able to use that the breakdown unit as a free stacking unit in the attack. Is that the idea?
Yep. Because notice it's got the free stacking symbol on it.
Right.
And
Okay.
that's why I think it's gamey.
Well, that doesn't seem gamey to me at all.
It does to me.
Well, I mean, you're just
But anyway,
well, you're you're using, because like my visualization of this is that the limitation on the number of units that can attack out of a hex is like a representation of the the what do you call it, the available room that the units have to advance through and like take
yeah,
cover behind. Right. So what
right.
all you're doing when you do that breakdown is you're just, you know, taking those units that could still fit in the I forget the term for it, but could still fit along on that line, and you're just putting them into the attack. So that seems very. I mean, I don't know if that's like historically what they would do. Maybe it's ahistorical, but it doesn't seem gamey.
All right. So we've got 17 versus 5. So it starts at 3-1. Armor versus no armor makes it 4-1. And you can just right click on these and increase the odds.
Oh, that's cool.
And then on turn 1, remember, you get 2 shifts out of these 2 artillery units. So I'll flip it to fired, and then I'll add 2 more columns. So it's 6-1, maximum is 7-1. Let's go over here to H and calculate it. Because I usually calculate everything before I decide where I'm going to use my artillery and my air, but in this
I
case,
see.
I'm doing for sure artillery. All right, so we have 10 here. These ones are halved, so it's 4 and 2 makes 6. That's 16. 3 and 4 is 7. So 23, I think, is what I came up with versus 10. He's doubled because all attacking units are attacking across a water barrier. If one of them was marsh and we were attacking out of it, it was down 10. So it's 2-1 odds base. No armor counts because all the armor is attacking across a river. So it's 2-1, but with the H artillery, that'll make it 4-1.
Got it.
Okay. We know is 3-1. 11 versus 4 is 2-1 with 1 shift makes 3-1. J, everybody's halved, so it's 3, 6, 9, 12 versus 5. That's 1-1. The reason I'll tell you now, the reason I do this is because all of these units from 50th Infantry Division are slow. They're going to fall behind the battle, and they're going to struggle to find things to fight for a while.
I see.
So I would rather fight at 1-1 odds, even if I lose,
Right.
because it's not going to change much if I lose.
Right.
But if I win, then that's 1 unit you're not using to defend somewhere else.
Right. I see.
So that's the only reason I do it. And you could make it 2-1, you could make it 4-1 if you, depending on whether you wanted to use air or artillery. But I just leave it at 1-1 usually. What I would normally do is I would definitely put air on this one to make it 5-1, and our air is right here. You just drag it over. And then I might make this one 7-1, or I might make this one 4-1. Your choice.
I see. I would. I mean, I feel like the road is the most important.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think if you look at, if you're a computer guy, you probably know your stats and whatnot better than most people. 7-1 is overkill, for sure, if you look at it.
Right. Okay. So then, maybe put it on the 3-1.
But 7-1 is also the one that's going to give you that bonus breakthrough combat 5 out of 6 times, whereas 6-1 gives it to you 4 out of 6 times.
Right. Got it. And then you can.
All right. So I'll let you. That's where I would go. And yeah. So you want to try to get that breakthrough, because if you can break this guy out of that position, you're doing better than they did historically. If you can kill them, all the better. If you can kill
Right.
them, you've really done something nice.
I see. Cool. All right. So is that everything?
Yeah, where do you want that last air unit to go?
I put them on the
There,
road.
G. Okay. All right. So we're ready to go to the combat phase. Any questions before we do that?
I don't think so.
All right. Um, I'm going to click the move button because we saw everybody do it. And then all those little tags are gone. And then if it were me doing it, it's very important when you replay logs to resolve these combats in order and for you to advance in through them in order. When you get a combat file from me, the first thing you'll do is start a log file and record my die rolls because you can keep playing while you're recording. Okay. It won't mess anything up, but you want to be recording and playing because I'll get to a point where I say, okay, combat A is done, do your advances. And then you have your log going, you will do your advances right there, and when you send it to me, I'll play it back and I'll see that in sequence.
I'm confused. Like I'm honestly a little bit confused about how these log files work. Like, is it that we have a single log file that we share, or we each have our own log files? How does this work?
We want to share it. Yes, we definitely want to share the same one.
Right. Okay, that's what I thought. So then, what
Okay?
do you mean I have to start a log file when I
Yeah,
receive?
I don't want to. I honestly don't want to get into it yet because it might be a harder thing for me to explain.
Okay.
All right.
So if we're just for the sake of understanding play by email, so at the point that my movement stops and I've placed all those attack markers, I would then email you my log file.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So then at that point I could close Vassal and do other stuff and then wait for
Yep.
you to email me back the log file, and then I open up Vassal again. And so what you do
That's
when
right.
you receive the log file, the first thing you did there was you clicked the clear all movement indicator button. Is that what you would normally do?
I do it early, not necessarily first thing, but yeah.
But when you're
You
resolving
know,
those
normally,
attacks,
normally I would verify that your moves look accurate. I would look around and say, does anything look unusual? Is there anything that
got
looks
it.
like a mistake here? Movement's really boring, and while mistakes happen, it's relatively uncommon.
Right.
So
Well, it's just good
I'll
to
just
know.
zoom through that. Yeah, I'll start at the combats and roll A and retreat, and B and retreat, and C and retreat. And if I do any DDs, it'll be right there before you get the file back.
I see. So you need to click that button before you resolve the combats, because once you resolve the combats, you then need to handle your retreats, and you want those to be recorded.
Exactly. I like to have that clear. And again, I'm a little OCD, but I like to have that cleared because um, if you don't ever clear that, right, it'll follow you around every turn. And you'll have every place you've moved over however many turns you've played. So you've got to clear that
Oh, so that
to
not
zero
only
that out.
clears the moved icon, but it also clears the paths. Is that right?
Yes,
Got it. Okay. Got it.
the trail,
The trail.
movement trail.
Right. Okay.
And I found the trail very useful to play by email.
Right. Yeah, I can imagine. Okay, so I feel like I'm with you so far.
Okay. Um, then let's have you roll for combat A.
Okay, so I think it's just a single die roll, right?
Yep.
So, and how do you normally indicate that you're rolling for combat A? You drag the arrow, or you just type it into the chat?
Normally, what I would do is you'll see me do something like this, and then I'd
Got
press the
it.
button.
Cool. All right, so I'm gonna press it. A one. That's not good.
The good thing you use artillery. A 4-1. That's an exchange. So there's good and bad about that. So, and in an exchange, we each pick the other person's loss.
Okay.
You can't pick anybody but who I am, right? I only have one unit here.
Right.
So there's my loss, and let me make sure that's right in this game. Yeah, by the opposing person. So I get to pick for you. And I'm going to pick this guy here. I'll just go ahead and take care of it for you.
So during a
And
play
that's
by
it for that
email, like during a play by email, you would do it. You would choose one of my units, and then you would send it back to me, and I would then select one of yours at that time.
Well, yes, in a play by email, I'm going to take a loss on your behalf and I'm always going to choose the best unit. It'll save
Okay,
us time. You can disagree, you can change it later in
got
your
it,
file,
got it.
but it's pretty easy to know what the best unit is at the time. Once in a while, there might be a question between an armor versus an infantry, but almost always you're going to choose the armor.
Got it.
You know what I mean?
Got it.
Um, so
Yep, makes sense.
So the good thing about this is you'll be able to kill Kraft next turn. The bad thing is his zone of control is there. So
The
that
bad thing
combat is
is
over.
what?
He's there
Oh, that
next turn.
he didn't retreat.
Yeah.
Okay. So why
Well,
is it
and you
preferable
lost
for him to retreat?
because it gives you more latitude to possibly move extra units into Arnhem
Okay,
on turn two.
got it.
With
Got
him
it.
alive, with him there, it's going to be much harder
Got it. All right.
because you can't. You have to stop when you enter an enemy's EOC. So sure, you can move from here to here, but you can't move on from there. And if you leave an enemy's EOC, you pay +2 for the first hex.
Got it.
So if he were to try to leave and go this way, it would be 3, 4, 5. You're still stuck there.
Got it.
Make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so combat A is done. We can leave those there. I'll show you a trick at the end. Combat B is 6-1. So I would say B at 6-1.
Got it. So
Oh, good. So B at 6-1. Typically, what I would do when it's my files, I would say A1, D1, advance 1, just so you know that kind of stuff.
got it.
And I would also say minus 1 on the DD table. That's new to the second edition. Just so and
Got it.
remember, I have bad eyes. I can tell you the guy I'm playing Stalingrad with twice already in 12 turns. I've looked at an odds column and read the wrong result. He's like, no, it's not a D1, it's a, something
Right.
else.
Right.
So, all right, so 2 at 6-1. What did we say that was? A1, D1. So my guy is dead. I will eliminate him. And you can take a loss to either one
Okay.
of your guys. What was the color of the advance? No bonus advance. All right, you didn't get the bonus advance. No big deal. If you had, you would have immediately attacked that other guy. But since you can't, you can't.
But they can.
But you can
Advance.
take the city hex, which I would do. Yep. And then as soon as you do that, I've got to reveal him. Okay, since this has 0, I can't move it. That's good because if he ever has a retreat result, he dies.
Right.
All right, so we're done with combat B, and I would say this is what I would normally say: B done, advance. That way you know in your log to go ahead and do something. All right. Combat C, 4-1.
Okay. So C at 4. What did you? 4 semicolon 1.
There you go. So D1, advance 1.
Okay.
And that's only a 1-step unit, so I'm dead.
So
And you take no loss. You get a regular 1-hex advance. And it doesn't really matter where you go.
oh. So actually, I want to think about where do I want to move them.
I mean, you kind of have, right? You have carte blanche on the whole side of that river down south of Nijmegen. It doesn't really matter where you go. Nobody can sneak through your. Remember, I can only move 2 on the first turn. What you've got is a very good, solid line of ZOCs all around here. Remember, if I enter a ZOC, I have to stop.
Well, I don't have a ZOC in
So
the south, right? I just have
No,
to.
you do. I have to. So I have to stop here. I can't go farther,
Oh,
or I have to
ZOC, not a
stay
bond, right? Got it. Got it.
on a bond.
Okay.
All
So
right.
they
There's
don't need
no.
help in Nijmegen?
Yeah,
Nijmegen?
I would definitely move one hex towards Nijmegen
Right.
because that's where the action is going to be.
Right. Okay.
And I believe I'm not sure that the airborne supply head can advance after combat. Normally in these games, you can always advance if
Oh,
you're
sorry.
stacked with an attacker. No, no, normally you can. It's normally you can. I'll look later. It doesn't matter too much right now. We can move off to combat D, which is over at best.
Okay.
And D is one of the low ones because I'm doubled on defense in the town.
I'm just checking the manual about that. Page 17. Hmm. Um,
So, you with me?
yeah, I'm just. Yeah, airborne supply heads may never advance after combat. There we go.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
now I know.
Um, so now we're at. What are we doing? D?
D is down at best. Yeah, it's 3-1.
Where is it? Okay, here I see. There it is. So D at 3 to 1. 1.
Ooh. Kiss your sister. Engaged. So it does nothing to your troops. That's a combat result. It essentially means I can move one hex and be okay, or I can move two hexes and become disrupted. That's all it really did.
Got it.
So we can move on to combat E.
Okay. So I write done. D done. Oops.
Yep.
Okay, so
A lot of my opponents don't even do that. I was a technical writer, so
well, I want to
I
do it
try to make
properly.
it regimented and, well, yeah, proper's in the eye of the beholder here.
Okay, so E at 4 to 1. 6.
Get better dice. There you go. All right, D1, and that's all I have, so I'm dead. And then you have a one hex advance. Now you can advance in any direction, and so nobody can. Again, I can only move two, but I would move off in this direction,
Okay.
either west or northwest.
Um,
Because again, you've got kind of carte blanche just on this territory over to the canal. I don't have anything that can get close for a long time.
okay. So now E is done.
Yep.
Now F. Where is F? There it
F
is.
is
Okay.
north of where we
Yep.
just were.
Got it. So F
It's 3-1.
at 3 to 1. 2.
An
Exchange.
exchange kills me. You lose a step, and you can take the hex, and I would take the city or the town.
So I lose the step, but I don't advance the airborne
Like you
replacement.
can.
I do?
No, that's correct. No, I'm sorry. I should have listened.
I,
You're correct.
I do not advance it because
You do not.
that's only
This
for
that's only
drops.
happens to playing games.
That's only for the drops, right? Okay. Okay, F done. G at 6 to 1.
Actually, G would be 7-1 because I don't think we ever increased it when you put that air down.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. 1.
Oh, yeah,
I'm getting really bad rolls.
yeah.
Okay, 701,
Alright, so I'm
A1B1.
gonna take my last and that guy, and then I back up to, and then I disrupt.
Okay.
What did they change the hotkeys to? Alt Shift D. That's helpful. Not at all. All right, and then you can take it from anybody. Or no, you can only take it from the two units who are attacking.
Okay, and
And I would take it off the 865. The nine. There's only one 9 power Sherman unit, and it's that 965. And then you got a 1 hex advance and one more hex because it'll be all on road.
okay.
You're a mechanized unit moving on road, so if you get one bonus road hex.
But did we break down that unit? I don't
We
remember.
never did. We didn't need to because it didn't add enough to shift the odds up.
Oh, okay. We were already at 7 to 1.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So it was the 9 and the 6 that were attacking. So they go 1. Are they allowed to?
And the other one can advance as well because he was stacked with them.
Okay. Are they
That's normal in these UFC bond titles.
are they allowed to advance into the zone of control of another?
Yes.
Yes. Right. Okay. I remember now. Is that right? No, not the air marker.
Yeah, you can just put that over on the side now if you want.
Put it over
It's done.
on the track. Oops. Okay.
G's done.
Okay. G done.
And then H should be 5 to 1 because you put the air on it.
Right. Okay. 4. So that makes
D1.
so
And I go now, your armored stuff south of the canal cannot advance because there's no bridge there.
right.
But those two mechanized or motorized infantry can, and you want to get at least, well, even they don't need to, right? They could go back here in this direction, and that's what I would do. Get on that road so that they can be hauling ass next turn, and then you have an infantry unit right here that can cross and take this hex right here so that you can be building that bridge next turn.
Got it. Cool. So that is done. H is done.
Yep.
I at 3 to 1. 5.
A1, D1. It's each our own choice. Now, this is a rare 2-step unit for me. So, off I go, and then.
Oh, and you were also. Were you writing the result in the chat as well?
I do, but for email, I do.
Yeah. Okay, that's good for me to. I want to learn to do that. Okay. Okay. And so I need to take a step loss.
And then, yeah, step loss and advance, and they can remember that boundary line. You can go 1 hex across it.
And it's what's the result where the opponent gets to choose?
Exchange or DRX.
Okay, got it.
The ones that are in bold on the table.
So I is done. J at 1 to 1. 6. Cool.
Oh, nice. D1. Yeah, you got nothing to lose. So I lose 1, and I am going to go off board. Bye-bye.
Okay. And then I can advance in. Oh, the ones that
Yeah, they can only go 1 hex in any direction.
So
and they're basically
can cross, but these ones that did not start next to the canal, are they still able to cross?
they're still able to cross. They're next to the canal.
Okay.
Both of these sections are next to the combat
No, but
heads.
I mean, they didn't
And
start the turn next to the canal.
that doesn't matter about starting the turn.
Okay.
It's post combat, so it's the same thing. For a combat, it's the first text after you. Rivers aren't this way, but canals you can cross during combat. These canals are only about
Hold on.
3 or 4 meters
Oh,
deep.
yeah. Infantry type units may only cross an unbridged canal hex side if they were attacking across it and it is the first hex of their advance. Okay, cool. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so J is done. So that's it. That's all of them, right?
That's it. All right. So you know where the 3-to-1 marker is up there on the top, the yellow one,
Yes.
right next to it. It's the 3-to-1 X.
Yes.
If you press that, all of these red arrows and all of these 5-to-1s and all of these 7-to-1, they'll all disappear. So click that.
Awesome.
Ta-da.
Fantastic.
All right. So we are done. Recovery. So recovery for you is only going to be removing scattered markers. You don't have anybody disrupted yet. And scattered always comes up. There's nothing you need to worry about.
Is there a systematic way to do that, or do I just go through each
Nope.
unit?
You just gotta go through it and do it.
Okay, so Control D.
All
Okay,
right, I'm gonna let you do that. I have to go refill my tea. I'll be right back.
sure. Where's the sequence of play? Oh, I think that's in the manual. All friendly disrupted and full retreat units that are not adjacent to an enemy unit recover 1 level. Okay. All friendly disrupted and full retreat units that are not adjacent to an enemy unit recover 1 level. Disrupted and full retreat. Okay, I don't have any of those. Roll on the rally table. Remove all spent, engaged, replacement, and scattered markers. Spent, engaged, replacement, and scattered markers. Okay. Replacement. Okay, don't have any of those. Alright.
All right, I'm back.
Alright.
How you doing?
So next is the supply phase.
Yeah, you don't have any supply problems yet.
Okay. And then the next is the replace limited. Okay, next is the traffic marker phase. Oh no,
That's
German
German
player
only.
2. Okay, so now it's your turn.
All right, so I can zip through this because there's not much for me to do.
Well, I mean, it's helpful for you to, if you can talk out loud. Help me to
Yeah, I
learn.
will.
Thank you.
So I usually start by looking at my reinforcement chart. Um, it's got units where they come from. All right, so I get one at F. I get one, and I'll when I do an email usually or PPBEM for a new player like you, I'll usually do this before your turn starts. Like at the end of my turn, I'll set out next turn's reinforcements to give you an idea where I'm going to have stuff coming in from.
Got it.
I find it's really helpful to new
Yeah, thank you.
players. All right, and then the last one is E.
How many games of the Simonich series have you played in total?
I think only 3 or 4.
Okay, hold on a second.
Normandy, one Stalingrad. I never played Ukraine, but I owned it. At 4.
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that.
No worries. All right. Oh, I got my reinforcements out. It's G, F, and E. There's new guys out there.
Right.
Um, I don't have any artillery to worry about. Bridge phase. I'm trying to see if there's any that I want to blow right now.
So you
Uh,
have your artillery resupply phase. No. Bridge phase. Okay. Reinforcements. That's in your movement phase. Okay, got it. But you do it during. Okay, got it.
yeah, I just
Okay, I'm with you.
talking about yeah.
So you. Okay, right. Oh, I see. You move it. You move the phase marker to the. Okay, got it.
I'm just looking around to see if there's any bridges I want to try to blow, and I don't think there are. I don't have many options. All
And
right,
so you're able
so
to
I'm gonna
blow any bridge, even if I'm not next to it, or
no, no. During my turn, I think I have to have a unit nearby within 1 hex, and
right,
you have to have a unit within one
right.
hex.
Okay, that's what I thought.
During your turn, I can blow it without having my units nearby.
Right. So why would you
So
ever not want to blow a bridge? Is that because you want to retreat your
on turn
units?
one, I don't want to. On turn one, I don't want to try because of the -1,
Okay.
unless I absolutely have to. Um, so usually best is one I might try to, but since I didn't get knocked out of best,
Oh, and because if you
maybe I should.
fail, you have to reset it. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, you once you fail, you're probably never going to get another. In effect, you're never going to have another chance.
Got it.
All right. No, I'm not going to blow any bridges.
Like, what do you think is
So we'll go to.
I mean, that doesn't seem like I would feel like the DRM would apply to the allied players. What do you call it?
No, I think it's pretty well. I've played this game so many times. I have a strong feeling that really you should go with the historical bridges. I think if you lose both Vagel and San, which you have in this case, although you have Best, Best isn't quite the same as San for obvious reasons. It's closer to my side, and if you took Best, you'd be fine, right? But you didn't take Best on turn one. You still might take it on turn two because I can't reinforce it. So, like I've said, if you lose both San and Vagel, I think you should only lose one, not both. And the same thing I kind of think about Nijmegen. Like this last bridge on the like, if you've lost these other three, you shouldn't be able to lose the fourth one.
Got it.
It's just too much. It's too much for the allied player to hurdle. It becomes really hard if you've lost essentially, if this bridge were blown, I'd throw in the towel if I were you. I'd be
Well,
like, no,
right.
we got to start over.
If you was playing to win, right? Yeah.
Because then the literally the other thing, I mean, you could take all of Arnhem, but the German has enough to just set up a ZOC wall all along the river,
Right.
or everywhere the ally might want to cross, right?
Right.
Um, I've seen that happen. Or I've seen it happen where neither Vagel or Son or any bridge gets blown. That's bad. I call that the money fantasy. And I think I took you, but my answer to that is a house rule where the German gets to blow either one of them and give up one VP to the Allied. I
Got
think
it.
that's fair. That's kind of a workaround. But anyway, yeah, I'm. We could restart. Your dice weren't particularly great on landing or on combat, but let's go through my turn. All right, so I'm going to roll for the 406 division, and what people normally do is top top down. So I'm going to roll three dice in sequence. The first one's going to be for the top guy. The second one's going to be for middle guy. Third one's going to be for the bottom guy. This is where arrows are really helpful. There they go. I haven't played this so long. I don't know where to find things. All right, so top, middle, bottom. One, two, three. None of them, right? Because they come in on a one or a two.
Got it.
And then down here it'll be top, bottom. Top, bottom. Hey, I got the artillery. That's the best one to get.
Okay,
Because this artillery can now, from this, and remember, I can set my artillery anywhere here where I think, object rules. But in the old game, I could be here during my phase and I could be here during your phase. It's all the same if I'm off board. And so what's really
really?
effective when you get this, yeah, when you get this, I can now support DDs in city in Nijmegen. One, two, three, four, five, at least to this hex. And if I come out on board, I can go to this hex.
Well, that
That's really
seems
helpful.
that seems broken, right? It doesn't seem like it should be like that,
Well, I want to, well, I don't have a problem with it.
right?
Believe me, the German is hard pressed for advantage in this game. Um, so it's pretty helpful. It's pretty necessary. And the same thing will happen around Arnhem. Some of this can stay
Well, I
off the
mean, like
map.
my feeling would be like keep it, try to keep it try to keep it realistic and just
Well,
adjust.
look at it this way. I can only fire it once per turn, right?
Okay.
Well, technically, yeah. If I fire it in your turn, well, I'll get artillery resupply. I don't get. I've got to go through artillery resupply, same as you. So it's not like I can fire it in both phases all the time. It's pretty rare.
Yeah, but I mean the
It's rare that I'll be
distance you're
shooting defense
moving,
and offense.
you would not be able to move that distance without
That's
using.
again, I'm not gonna. I don't make the rolls. I just
Well, I
read them,
mean,
follow.
it's like a human wrote them, so they can make mistakes, and that's what playtesting is for, right? Is like identifying these issues.
That's why they went from a D table that was 1d6 to now 2d6. I can't wait for them to do that in Stalingrad 42.
They're
But in
oh,
any event, that's everybody for there. So I will do my movement, and it's all tactical. I'm going to start up at Arnhem uh, and do this guy first. Um, Craft is going to try to get out of there. Go here. This unit is going to go 2. This unit is there. He's going to move away from you here. So it's +2 to leave zone of control. So I'm going to go down the road 3 hexes. That's 1, and then add the 2. So that's 3 to get there. 4. This is just a regular underdeveloped road. 5. Six, 6, 7.
Okay, help me with the math here. So you pay 2 to leave my zone of control,
Zero lasers under control. That's where Control T comes in really
and
helpful, right?
and is that
So,
that's like in addition to any movement points
yeah.
required to move
And
along the road?
the red roads are 1/3 per hex, so I just moved to here and called it 3.
One.
One for
Okay,
3,
got it.
1/3 hexes.
I'm with you to that far.
So it's 3 to there, 4 to there.
Got it.
I missed the railroad bridge, so I'm actually too far. It's 1 to go across here. You can see the bridge on the Polder side,
Got it.
right? So it's 1 to go there because it's not a minor road. It's a underdeveloped road. I forget what they call them. And then the railroad bridge, I'm forgetting that costs, that implies cost. That adds +2 cost for a mechanized unit like me. So I did go too far. So it was 1, 2, 3. It was 5 to get here. Let me go back here. So I like now I mark them moved all over again. And we can start all over. So 3, 4, 5, and then 6, 7 for the railroad bridge, and that's as far as I can go.
Okay.
I was
Because
forgetting the railroad
you're
bridge
doing
is
extended
additional
movement,
cost.
right? You have a movement factor of 5. You're doing extended movement that gives you 2 more,
Yes, you
right?
could leave a zone of control as the first thing you do and still use it.
Right. Okay. I remember that. Okay. I'm with you. I understand.
He's going to go here, and that finishes me for. Oh wait, this is really important too. This is kind of a no-brainer. 1, 2, 1, 2. Never forget to move those. Nobody can move there. All right, so now I'm all the way down by Vagal and over here.
Why didn't you move that unit into Arnhem?
One, I can only the first reason I didn't is because I can
Oh,
only
it's
use tactical
tactical
movement.
movement.
Two right now.
Well, so then why was
Believe me, I'd
why
love
was the
to
flak able to move 7?
because I was cheating and I was waiting for you to tell me that. Cheat. You should know that about me. So you can only use tactical. I will go like that.
Okay.
I'm glad you caught. For some reason, I can be doing everything right. When I look at one unit, I just space. It's harder when you're teaching, right? That kind of thing happens when you're
Right.
teaching. So, but I still can be that crazy during a regular turn. These two guys didn't move. Those are 2 steps. Now down to Vagal. We're gonna stay there. Go there. Here. Cross the river to Gemmert. Here. South past Eindhoven. This lonely little Stug is going to try to get away. Let me do these guys first. All right, so they're going to back up, and he's going to go there. That will be a little bit more survivable. It's not good, but it's survivable. And then he away. He is going to run. And what I normally do is I just put a disrupted on him. That way I don't accidentally move him back on the board. You don't have to do that. No rule that says you have to do that. It's a heuristic for me to avoid cheating like I just did with that 1-2-5.
When you say move them back on the board, you mean like this same turn, or?
Yeah, it's like they were a reinforcement. Mistake them for a
Okay.
reinforcement if they don't have that.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Got it.
So you guys are going to go 1, 2. And then he's going to go off this one. And that's my movement phase. That's it.
All right. Well, that was very
Let's
fast.
so you can end your log here. Yeah, they'll be longer, but the first one's very short. Because that's about all the time I have for tonight.
Yeah, I think
So
that
I
was a
usually
perfect
do
length for
save.
me as well.
Let's call it save them separately. It's always good in case anything happens. Um, and you want to do a live one again next time we play? I don't know when you
Sure.
might do a next session. We'll talk about that later. But let's do a live one before we go to an email.
Sure.
And then the first time we do an email, we can do it on my side. Uh,
What do you
and
mean by
see how
that?
it works.
Do it on my side.
It'll be my turn because I'll do it the way you can see how I do one for you to review.
I say. Got it. Cool.
So
Thank you so much. This has been
maybe
fantastic.
sometime.
Amazing.
Hey, you're welcome, Nathan.
You were a
It's nice to have
fantastic
somebody to
teacher.
play a game with.
Yeah, I
Oh,
wanted
thanks.
to ask you, I forgot to ask you before, how many, or maybe I did ask you and I didn't hear your answer. How many games of the
Three or four. I've played
Simonish
three or
system,
four. Yeah.
and then how many of
So
those, like actual matches?
Normandy. Um, I've got 6 completed games of Stalingrad. I've got 2 completed games of Normandy. Ones I play against people. I had Ukraine, but I got rid of it. It wasn't that interesting to me. Salerno, once I saw the scope of it, I thought it was too small to really buy. I'll wait till he, publishes his next one. He's supposed to make one that ties into that with Rome.
Yeah, I think they're not
Rome
going
and
to
Italy.
actually connect. That was something that they
Um,
canceled.
well, so Salerno looked kind of small to me, so I didn't grab it. And I love Stalingrad 42.
Yeah, I want to try
And I
that
like
one.
this too. So I can always play these ones. But I didn't like the Normandy one. I hardly ever play any Battle of the Bulge games, so I just never was interested in the Ardennes one. People love it. People say it's a lot like the Holland one because it uses traffic, kind of the same thing. But
Right.
I might buy it someday. I might not. You don't need to buy them to play them online.
Right.
But France 1940, I've got the second edition of that. I've never played it. Would love to play it.
Yeah, awesome. That's
Yeah,
fantastic. Thank you so much.
you are welcome, Nathan. I'll be in touch tomorrow, and we'll try to set something else up for another day this week, maybe.
Okay. All right. I'll wait to hear from you.
Thursday's probably out. Yeah, day is fine.
Okay.
All right, take care.
Yep.